the family, keeping the family together, knowing your family roots. And our next speaker is a gentleman, and we're going to have a lady talking about this also, but the gentleman, I think they're related to everybody in Fort Wayne, just about anyway. Mr. Stevenson, come on up here and tell us, you know, the one thing I've noticed about your family is you guys are together like no other group I've ever seen in my life, and even when the older people die off, you still somehow maintain that unity among you all. How do you do it? Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Hackley. But before I begin, I must look at the panel here, and I might say thank you. I'm honored to be up with you, Sister Roberts, Ridley, and the young man, and Brother Jones, and all of you. And Charlie and I, we happen to be stepbrothers, and we come up the same way. And I'm proud to say that I am a native, Reverend Hunter, of Fort Wayne. And many times people downgrade the city of Fort Wayne, but I'm proud to say that I'm a native of Fort Wayne. And being a native of Fort Wayne in our younger years, we kind of looked upon ourselves as better off than most blacks, because when I was young, you would go south and you could not go to school, you could not swim. There was a lot of Jim Crow in practice. But here in Fort Wayne, we would mingle and go to school with blacks and whites, and there was no problem. And so we thought we was better off. My family came to Fort Wayne in about 1912. Two of my great uncles drove horse-driven wagons for a profession, and they did light hauling. And every male from the time of then up until the early 60s, that was our first job, helping our uncles on the horse-driven wagon. You see a young man today running around here in Fort Wayne. That's my brother with the horse and wagon. It's because it has been instilled in him. So each male has been instilled that work ethics at a very small age. And just like Charlie, my family, they taught us love of each other. Many times when there were some discrepancies and violence and fights amongst the siblings, we had to come together, and after being disciplined with a whipping, we then had to kiss each other. And so we been instilled the love for one another. And whether you were male or female, you had to kiss. And I don't care if it was your brother or your sister. You didn't want to kiss them. But we found today one of the greatest things that I know is the love of my siblings. Every year, the other thing of tradition, our families, since the early 1900s, when we first lost by death a family member in Fort Wayne, we began to go to Lindenwood Cemetery every Memorial Day. And every Memorial Day, if you go out there, you would see maybe 40 or 50 of my relatives. We go out there in a motorcade, and many times the news media have met us there. And we'll go around to each one of those sites, and we'll tell the history of how our family came to Fort Wayne. And our family, Minister Hunter, history is similar to Pilgrim Baptist Church history, because the horse-driven horse driver, he was one of the charter members that organized the Pilgrim Baptist Church in 1919. And since that time, our church have always been occupied by members of Pilgrim, families of our family members, which basically is written in the Kelso family. But as a result of being a kid, and now I'm a grandparent, and I see my children, and we still have the big numbers on Memorial Day. And as the kids come up, they're able to tell the story of how their family have came to Fort Wayne and who were the pertinent people and roles that they played. And it was because of that that we had that love for each other. The other thing, what we also had, was the love of neighborhood. We lived in a neighborhood, and some was out in here and up at the table. We lived in a neighborhood that we loved one another. And to this day, when you meet one of those people that you grew up with, they will say, "What's going on, neighborhood?" And at a time when a lot of the kids are doing gang thing, this is not a gang thing. This is a love thing. It's a way of us encouraging one another to be the best that we can be. And we huggled around sports. And I say the love of Fort Wayne because being an athlete myself, we got out of high school and we played independent basketball. And the BOP, the Black Organization for Progress, had this gigantic basketball tournament. And Charlie and Brother Martin out there, we were on the local team, Fort Wayne team. And the tallest guy was no more than 6'3", but they had recruited in Division I players from Chicago, Division I players from Detroit, and nobody wanted to play. But what happened? Because of the heart that was in men, because of the love that we had for each other, the little midgets went out there and we had beat the first round and we had beat the second round. And when it came to the championship games and the division players was up there, they were saying, "Well, what's going to happen?" Well, I said the local Fort Wayne team met the occasion. And it was not because Charlie Reese shot a 45-foot jump shot and made the bucket, but it was because of the love of Charlie Reese and Charlie Martin and Rick Stevenson and Dick Lowry and Jim Gooden and Jesse White Jr., because they had the love of one another putting together. And this is what, if there's anything I could say to the young people, look around you and you see your friends and, oh, I love the Brother Hunter, and I think Brother Haywood is a fantastic pastor, but I know they're not natives of Fort Wayne. And I love my new friends, but it's something genuine about an old friend that you came up with. And because it becomes your extended family. And that's what we're all about. And when you think about your extended family, where does it come from? I think Charlie hit it about before. And when you have this, you're not so much worried about whether it's Bush or whether it's a Democrat or whether it's Republican, because you have something within you, that overcomes any obstacles. I'm going to hold it there, but I could go on and on. Brother Hackley.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to ask you here, what you just mentioned, that may have been largely destroyed by the breaking up of Central High School and creating all these other satellite schools. How can we overcome that, and how do we recreate the situation that you just suggested that happened in the 60s and 70s there?
I'm glad you asked that, because we've been really hitting around it, and hopefully that Minister Hunter might tap on that, because it has to now originate at Union. It has to originate at Pilgrim. It has to originate at Turner Chapel. It has to originate at Community. It has to, every little church. It has to originate in the Nation of Islam. And it's only that way that we can instill this in our young people, so that they'll be able to overcome and deal with the problems that they have. Shake off some of those problems that you have and keep looking forward. But it's only through the encouragement of the church and institutions of religions that we'll be able to deal with that, Brother Hackley.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.